Hello, my name is Mr. Polk and welcome to my kitchen. Today we'd like to take a look at making vegetables. We want to take a look at making gratinade vegetables, meaning that we're going to cut them, season them, put some cheese on them, put them in the oven, and let them cook until they're tender, and then the cheese kind of browns on top. And we're going to do that. We're going to use yellow squash, green squash, zucchini, some plum tomatoes, and then we're going to put a little seasoning on them with olive oil, garlic, and Italian seasoning, and then finish it with some Parmesan cheese. Okay, let's take a look at our vegetable mise en place. So when you select your squash, try to get them all similar in size. And then what you're going to do is cut them. And for this, I like to do a circle. I know sometimes we cut them on the bias for a little fancy. But I think because they're all the same size, when you do the circles, they plate really well. And you want to cut these in about half-inch slices. So these are just like, large rondelles from the carrot, but instead of a 1/4 inch, we're going to do them at 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's your yellow squash. And then you're going to cut up your green squash. Same way. Make sure you give your vegetables a good wash. And this is just, again, 1/2 inch slices. Okay. And then put those on. You want to go with 1/2 inch. You might think that that's a little thick. But what happens is when they cook, because of all the water, they shrink. So if you start it with a 1/4 inch slice, you'd have something that was really small. And then the tomato, these are plum tomatoes, and I get them because they have a shape that's about the same diameter as the squash. And again, you're just going to go ahead and cut your 1/2 inch slices off of there. Okay, and we'll put those on our plate. And then the next step is to go ahead and make our marinade. So now let's make our marinade. We're going to take about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, put it in a bowl. And then we're going to add into that our garlic, about 2 cloves worth, minced up. And then about 1.5 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. And then just a little bit of your kosher salt, a couple grinds here of the fresh pepper. Okay, it looks good. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and whisk it. And again, you're just going to whisk it together to make a nice marinade. And then you're going to take all of your veggies, okay, and you're just going to pop them in there. And you can use a pair of tongs or whatever. I like to just put on a pair of gloves, and I like to just kind of coat them. Okay? So you're going to just go ahead and mix those up and coat them. And then now your veggies are ready to go. Oh, they look great. Okay, great seasoning on there, the oil, the Italian seasoning, the fresh garlic. Everything looks great. So once you put them in the marinade, you're going to get a sheet tray with some parchment paper and lay them all out. And then what you want to do is take your shredded fresh Parmesan cheese and just kind of, you don't want to just throw it on everything. And this is really what does the gratinee. Just try and put a mound of cheese on each one. And then these guys are going to go in a 400-degree oven, and they're going to bake until they're tender, all right, and until they have a really nice golden color from the gratinee. And this is a really nice vegetable medley. And when you serve them on the plate, you'll be able to serve, one of each color, and you'll be able to shingle them. These things turn out really nice, and they have great flavor. It's great use of vegetables. This is a great use now if you've got, your last bit of vegetables coming in from the garden and you want to try to use them up. All right, this is a great way to use these guys up. So now we'll just finish with a little bit of more Italian seasoning or some oregano or whatever you want. And if you like salt or pepper, you could put a little bit more of that on if you want. I'm just going to go ahead a couple grinds of the fresh pepper. And now these guys are ready for the oven. Okay, let's take a look at the oven here on our oven cam. Oh, these are beauteous. So this is what we're looking for with the gratinee, is that you can see how gorgeous they look. They've got that brown color. You can see the edges have been roasted in the oven. And like I talked about, we cooked them thicker, but now that they've cooked down and shrunk a little bit, they still have a nice thickness to them. If we would have done them at a 1/4 inch and then roasted them, they would have been too thin. So now let's take a look at how we can present them. So here you can see our plated finished product. And I have them plated up as a tray, family style. You easily could do, one of each as your veggie on a dish. I mean, these are great. And the last thing you could do for presentation is you could either drizzle them with a little bit of balsamic glaze, or you could put some balsamic glaze underneath. And you could make your own balsamic glaze with balsamic vinegar, about a half cup of vinegar, and maybe 2 tablespoons of white sugar. Mix it together and let it reduce till it's thickened, but not too thick, about halfway. So if you're looking at a half cup, reduce it till it looks like a 1/4 cup, and that's good. If you go too thick, it'll reduce into a tar. Or you can purchase the balsamic glaze. So this is a pre-made balsamic glaze. And it has a touch of the sweetness with the vinegar. It's just a really nice flavor. And you could just take this, and a lot of times we just sort of do, a drizzle back and forth on the whole plate, and just make things look really sharp. This is a great way to serve these vegetables. This could be something like this. This could even be as an app or something like that, a family style, or like I said, place it as your veggies on a dish. So there you can see how we can cook our yellow squash, our green squash, zucchini, our plum tomatoes in a different way. We can coat them in a nice marinade, put them on a sheet tray, do the Parmesan cheese, pop them in the oven at 400, let them cook until they get that beautiful gratinee, that golden brown color on it, and then plate it. And then if you wish, you can pair it with the balsamic glaze, but you don't have to. So thank you for cooking with me today, and I can't wait to cook with you real soon right here in Mr. Polk's kitchen.